Right then, hello everybody. So today I couldn't think of a topic. Well, I was going to have a topic, but I forgot it. I did have about 3 topics actually, and I've kind of forgot a couple of them. We could probably touch on one that I did think about actually that I can actually remember. But I thought we'll just have some retelling questions as well. So I shall go down and see if we've got anyone in yet. I did only just create the event, so. Oh, George is in, Jem is in, and BCP is in. So hi guys. George Ross, Wally says, can't even speak. George Ross, Wally Shed says hi. Hey ads, Bumcrack Picker. Southwest Sales is in. Hi there. So we are here. It's 10 to 1 as usual. You know I can't be late. So yeah, another episode of Thursday Talks. As I say, I don't really know too much about what we're going to talk about today. So yeah, just feel free to whack any questions in the chat. I was going to say as well that my mum had a wardrobe that's meant to be turning up as well. But luckily that's not happening anymore because the driver didn't turn up for work today. So what I would have had to do if the van turned up is I would have been in a bit of a state of not, a bit confused. I wouldn't know what to do, whether I should stop the stream or whether I should go down or whatever. So I'm quite thankful that that's actually not happening today, because I thought I don't want to, if he rolls up in 5 minutes after I've just gone live, then what I'd have to do is kind of stop the stream and then recreate the event and all that. I thought, oh, I'm not doing all that. So quite glad that that isn't happening today, actually, because it makes it a lot easier. We've got loads of people jumping in. We've got oh, did I say yeah, I said Dr. Doodle Doo. So yeah, George Ross says, I'll try and pop back in during the hour, but quite busy with the daughters being off school. Oh, yeah, that's funny because I walked past my old primary school yesterday, and basically there was no cars there or anything, but I thought, they can't be still off because Easter was like 10 days ago or something. So, because what used to happen for us is we'd have a week off, or as far as I would remember, I mean, I think there was 1 or 2 years we'd like, on the Good Friday, that'd be our finishing day. But I swear that what used to happen is we'd have 1 week off, and then it'd be the Easter weekend, and then we'd have another week off, and then we'd be back in. So by that logic, I thought, well, we should be back in by now. But maybe they're doing it, this year, as in they finished on the Good Friday and then had 2 weeks off from then. So obviously they won't be back till Monday or something. But when you've not got kids and you're kind of in that little in-betweeny period of maybe by the time you're 18 to, let's say, 25, something like that, you've not necessarily got kids at school, or even maybe older, 18 to 30, depending on when you have kids. You kind of forget all of that, all of the half-term thing and all of the summer and stuff like that. And I will, if I ever do have kids, I always say I'm definitely going to have kids, and I know that in my mind because at some point I do want children. Reproduction in terms of any species is one of the reasons that we exist, in my opinion, and scientifically, there's things to back that up. So I always think, I'm definitely going to have kids, and I can't wait that when that happens to kind of get back into all that, time off and stuff, and it'll make me feel a little bit more like a child as well. But as you know, whenever I don't have a subject to talk about, I always ramble off. So I'm going to go in the chat. I'm going to talk to a few people. We'll get this ball rolling with reselling related stuff. So we've got DJ Winnie says, how's people's sales been through these Easter holidays? Mine have been horrendous. Mine have been pretty poor. Yeah, I mean, yesterday wasn't too bad. I did it over 100 yesterday, but to be honest, I've struggled on a few days, to even hit that £100. It's been very, I mean, for the whole of the year, really, and I've said this numerous times now this year, but for the whole of the year, it's been very weird. It's been very up and down. We've had February was just terrible for me. March was okay. March was pretty, actually March was decent because I just did my accounts for March the other day. So March was decent, but yeah, I mean, February was just pretty poor. Now, obviously, there are 28 days in February. Was there 28 days this year? Yeah, I think it was 28 days, wasn't there, this year? It's not a leap year. So, yeah, because of that, you lose like 3 days anyway, essentially, in terms of turnover if you're doing a monthly profit and loss account. or if you're just assessing things monthly, you're losing the extra 2 or 3 days that you would have on a normal month. So that makes it a little bit harder to make, to make up the numbers anyway. But when you have a slow month on a month that is also shorter, it means that it makes it look pretty horrendous. But you've always got to look at it in terms of 3 months, 6 months, and yearly. Overall, for the year, you're doing well. Everyone's doing well overall in the year if you put the work in, if you put the effort in. So, when you've got these patches, even if it is a full month, oh God, it's not doing this thing again, is it? It's not jumping, is it? The stream isn't jumping, is it? One sec. Why is it doing this? I don't get why it's doing this. Oh, God. Let me see if that helps any. Sorry, you have to bear with me, guys. I'm just kind of messing around the OBS settings to see if it's anything to do with that, but I don't think it is. I think it's my internet again. But this is really weird. Why it does this, with OBS, like why my internet goes down. Like it's not done that in weeks, has it? It's not gone down randomly ever like that. So I don't know. I don't know whether it's to do with that Wi-Fi extender, but I might have to kind of assess whether this stream is gonna be a healthy stream or not, because it might not hold up very well, this stream. So I don't know how I could do that really, because if it's to do with my internet, I can't necessarily just go over to Google Hangouts and do it on Google Hangouts, because it's not, it's not necessarily the OBS, it's my actual internet. So yeah, it's a bit concerning, Matt. I don't know what I'm going to do about that. But if it is going bad, just tell me about it, and then I might have to end the stream and maybe do a little bit of a recorded episode or something like that, because it doesn't seem to be. I mean, it's all right now, but it'll randomly just flash red OBS like my internet's proper gone. But anyway, so what was I talking about? So, we got Fake Rachel. Hi there. First no sales day yesterday since February. This is Southwest Sellers. First no sales day since February, but due to not listing, currently running down number of listings. Yeah, I've had a few poor days. I don't think I've had a no sales day in a while. I think I probably had one this year though. I can't remember, to be honest, but I'm assuming I probably had one in 2018 at some point, because there was a few days that were pretty bad in February, as I say. Get a phone contract with unlimited interwebs. I've got on my phone, I've got like 1 gigabyte, but I don't think I've got no, but I'm not on my phone though, am I? How would that work if I was on, like, because I'm on computer, aren't I? So how would having a phone contract with unlimited internet work in terms of my computer? Is there something I'm missing with that? I don't know. I've gone into clothing. This is DJ Winnie, and spending fortunes on designer clothes. I'm now at 600 items. I'm selling worse than when I used to have one. Is that 100? This year has been terrible so far. Oh yeah, that's 100. Yeah, it's just been very, very odd. It's been very up and down. But the funny thing was, the kind of the topic I wanted to talk about a little bit is smelling. What was it? What was the phrase now? Stop and smell the roses. Obviously, if you're, I was gonna make a joke out of it and say, obviously, if you're allergic to roses, then don't smell roses. But it was a stupid joke. But anyway, stop and smell the roses. So it actually ties in somewhat with what we've been talking about these slow sales. Well, actually, it contradicts it completely. It's a complete cat clash. But in a way, it sort of works to talk about this. But I wanted to just emphasize the point of actually sometimes taking a step back and just looking at your business and thinking to yourself, because especially when you think today, for example, you think today or this week is going bad, your sales are going bad, your inventory is depleting, or whatever it is, and you can't seem to get more stock, or whatever it may be, or you've not got the motivation to list or anything like that, in these maybe few days or week, always take a step back and look at it in terms of the year. Look at it also, not only that, but look at your business as a whole, in the sense of, you know, have you still got items for sale? You know, have you still got an inventory? Are you, maybe you're struggling to get stock at the moment, but are you, you know, is there anything coming up that might excite you? Maybe a car boot, maybe a jumble sale, maybe you're doing a big charity shop run one day, and step back and think to yourself, well, yeah, okay, it might not be the best now, but I've got this to look forward to in a few weeks. And if I actually take a step back and I look at my figures for the last 12 months, 6 months, whatever it may be, I'm actually doing pretty well and I'm up on where I need to be, you know, considering where I was last year. So I think, you know, I just wanted to talk a little bit about that because I know it's been quite hard for pretty much all of us this year in terms of getting some sort. I really do feel like there's no consistency this year. I feel like the sales are very, very up and down. There's no level of consistency. In pretty much the entirety of 2017, I had some level of consistency. But this year already, my February wasn't very good, and that let down the level of consistency. But again, if we look at it and we step back and we think over the course of a year, it's, you know, it's fine in the end. But if I were to, let's say, have a terrible 8 now or something like that, then that would get me even, you know, a little bit more worried because I've not got that level of consistency that I had last year. Now you could say to yourself, well, I've not been working as hard and stuff like that. Oh, it's flashing at me again. I hope nothing's wrong with this stream. Let me just check here. Alright, it seems okay on OBS, so I'm gonna keep talking. But yeah, what was I saying now? So it doesn't seem that consistent this year. However, you've just got to keep putting the work in, and if you haven't been putting as much work in, maybe that's the reason that it's a little bit inconsistent, a little bit slow, and maybe you just need to have a bit more motivation and keep going. Also, with regard to stepping back and smelling the roses, you could also have a little bit of time off. You know, just because things are slow doesn't mean that you're not allowed some time off, or you're not allowed to take a step back from a business and just, you know, maybe get your head straight in terms of having a holiday, winding down, getting that stress levels out of you. And then when you get back home, if you've been abroad or if you've been in this country or wherever, or you might just be having a break but you don't actually go on holiday, then you can actually come back to it and actually attack it in a different way, and then you may get some consistency back. So, you know, you've gotta just take it as it is, take it as a bigger picture rather than just the smaller micro picture, and don't worry about it too much. You know, just, as long as you keep putting in the work, it'll come back around. If you're not putting in work consistently and consistently and consistently, then you might have cause to worry because you're not doing much. But as long as you're at least putting on a few listings each day, you're keeping active on your account, you're putting on the right stuff, you're maybe trying to increase your amount of higher value items opposed to lower value items, then it will all, you know, flow right in the end. So, you know, it'll all come right in the end. So I just wanted to talk about that a little bit and just give people a little bit of, you know, of calming advice, because I've been through a lot of slow sales periods over the last sort of 2.5, 3 years, and it really does get to you a little bit, you know, and the longer you do it, the less it gets to you in one respect. However, this February, or, you know, sort of late January, February, was really, really slow for me, and it did get to me on a higher level than maybe it normally would. So even when you are having, you know, multiple days or even a couple of weeks or 3 weeks of those slow sales, it's always worth to, you know, actually just looking back and thinking, am I putting in enough work for one? Am I going in the direction that I want to be going in with my business? You know, whether that's putting on more higher value items, whether that's expanding into another niche. And if, you know, if you're doing all these things that you want to do and you are putting in the effort, then you can't necessarily feel too down about those slow sales for a short period of time. You just keep putting in the work and then it will return. I promise you, because every time I've doubted myself in terms of, oh, will it actually return? Are these sales going to, you know, especially in the early days, will these sales return? They always have. But every time they've returned because I've put the work in. So if you do the same, I don't want to guarantee anything, but I can almost guarantee it. You know, it's that level of confidence, you know, that I have with you know, putting in the work and making things happen, that it will actually return. But I'll quickly look in the chat now. So just quickly have a look here. We've got which one day's in the chat? Hi there. I think that's everyone. I don't think there's anyone else joined us. What's a hotspot? Not. I remember that phrase on Strictly. Strike it lucky. What's a hotspot? A hotspot not. What? What is that? I don't even understand that. Do you mean like an internet hotspot? Oh god, I don't know. I've never seen Strike It Lucky though, so I don't know. I'm assuming that's a TV program. Pulling away from eBay, Southwest Seller says more stock on Etsy, and at least the booth is doing better than eBay. Yeah, I really do think that maybe moving away from eBay a little bit is definitely good, you know, specifically for my business, but also for other people's businesses as well. With regards to this lack of consistency this year, I think that because eBay has kind of shown me that it is a little bit lacking in consistency over the past 3 or 4 months, it might be worth me as a, you know, not necessarily as a reseller, but in terms of an entrepreneur, you know, of a business person, to actually expand my horizons and go into a few other different areas to compensate for, you know, eBay being a bit sporadic, really. So I think that's always a good idea, you know, to branch off, do different things, but only take on the things, you know, if you feel you can, if you've got the time, and you know, you're not gonna, because there's a fine line between, I suppose, taking on other things to expand your business and then just completely spreading yourself too thin, and then you know, you try to juggle all these different things. But I think that really you could probably juggle and do, well, not juggle, but you could probably you know, quite happily do, you know, 2 to 3 things, I would say, to a fairly good standard. So, you know, if you say, like, for example, with me, if I had like eBay, Amazon FBA, and then something else like a booth or something like that, then I think I could comfortably do that. However, I think that my Amazon FBA would have to take, I feel like it would have to take a little bit of a dive, so that then I could really focus on my booth and eBay. So therefore, maybe 2 things is more my sort of speed, you know, in terms of really putting some good focus on them. Because when I say, you know, 2 or 3 things, I mean, you're not trying to, like, you're not getting overwhelmed with these 2 or 3 things. You're actually putting in a lot of effort with these 2 or 3 things. So you know, if you've got maybe 10 things on the go, yes, you might just be able to juggle them and not go under or anything, but you're going to be very stressed. You're not going to do them to a high standard. So yeah, I think like maybe, you know, smaller amount of things, but expanding to at least maybe one other platform or one other way of selling things is always a good idea. Just because you can never really have any real consistency in a business of your own, because you're not getting a set wage. You know, it's very, very sporadic. You don't know what, you know, in terms of sales, you don't know what sales are coming in when. So if you have, you know, maybe 2 or 3 things on the go, it's always a good idea. But as I say, if you have any more than that, could lead into that territory of spreading yourself too thin. We've got quite do-it-yourself lifestyles in. Hi there. Question: end of 2018, where do you see yourself? Any targets or goals to achieve this year? Yeah, I said I briefly touched on this in like the business goals video, but I mean, it's kind of just expanding where I am. I think I did talk about buying bigger, in terms of actually, you know, buying from auctions a little bit bigger, and that's still very much the premise, you know, getting larger job lots of items, breaking them down, putting them on eBay, sorting through them, you know, maybe sending a bit of a tap to the charity shops or wherever it be, and then sorting through some fairly decent items and putting them on, and, you know, doing that on a larger scale, maybe, you know, as I say, getting a large amount of stock each time I'm doing the auction, or trying to get a large amount of stock if it's viable, you know, depending on the competition at that specific auction, you know, at any given specific auction. But it's kind of that in line with sort of, I suppose, doing some sort of good level of turnover and profit in Q4. But I always say that, and that will come from the fact that I've got plenty of Q4 stock in the other room already, and I'm obviously going to be adding to that throughout the year. And then just with my eBay income as well, Oh, stream saying it's bad. One sec. And then with my eBay income as well. Oh, it looks okay on OBS. Looks okay on OBS. And then with my eBay income as well. Obviously that will just help in quarter 4. But I don't know. I mean, I have some goals outside of reselling, monetary goals outside of reselling. Just gonna check in the chat just to see if it isn't, if the stream is okay, because I think people are, yeah, no one's saying it's the stream's bad or anything. I think it's just YouTube saying that. Jason says hi, all at work. We'll catch up later. Have fun. Oh, yeah. Hi, Jason. Yeah, you can catch up on the replay. Where are we? I will just talk about that thing I was talking about a minute ago in a second. Doing it yourself lifestyle says looks good. I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's my internet, whether it's YouTube. I really haven't a clue. This is the problem though. Doesn't it frustrate you? Whether it be in reselling, in your eBay kind of business, or whether it be just, personally or different circumstances in life, when you have a problem, but you don't know quite how to fix it because you don't know the root cause of the problem, that is really frustrating. And that's like kind of how every time I've been doing OBS, every time I've been trying to change my settings and stuff, I keep trying to change it and I keep thinking I've fixed the problem, and I might have fixed that one problem, but then another one will spring up and it's so damn annoying. And I don't know whether anyone else has that problem, has that kind of thinking when you have a problem, let's say, but you can't fix it. I mean, I absolutely love fixing problems. I don't mind actually getting problems. It does annoy me a little bit when a problem does come in, but once that problem's come in, I can then think about, after a few minutes of me huffing and puffing like, oh great, another problem or whatever, I then think to myself, well, how can I strategically solve this problem in the best way? And I do get quite a lot of joy out of solving those problems. However, it's very frustrating when you can't find the root cause of a problem and you can't necessarily fix the problem in the way you would like to, and you end up having to do a fix or something like that. So it is a little bit annoying, but yeah. So I was gonna say as well before I stop to have a look in the chat. I'm just gonna go back onto OBS because it's flashing at me again. Yeah, we're okay on OBS again, so that's okay. So problems every day. Love solving them when they pop up. Yeah, it's true. As I mentioned a minute ago, actually, doing it yourself lifestyle, it's kind of I love solving my problems, but sometimes it's so annoying when you have a problem that you don't know that root cause of, and you're really trying to solve it and trying to go round different ways of solving it, and you just can't seem to do it, and it's very annoying. But yeah, so I was saying before I was looking in the chat, that I've kind of got a few goals, financial related goals, aside from reselling, because I've always mentioned, the fact that I'm kind of more of a, I would say personally, I'm kind of more of an entrepreneur, not necessarily a reseller. And I think I did a Thursday Talks episode on, sort of thinking about whether you are actually a reseller or an entrepreneur and what kind of a difference is. And we had I think it was quite a good chat, that one, actually. We had a lot of interaction with people in the live chat. But I've always said I'm kind of an entrepreneur, not necessarily just a reseller. And I am doing a few things on the side in terms of investments that I feel could do quite well in maybe the end of this year, early next year. Not necessarily investments that I can't control though. Like, this is the problem with investing. When you invest in something, you can't always control that investment. You can't control the money you get back. The way I like to invest is like passive income investment. So you'll hear a lot of people talk about passive income. I've talked about it on this channel before, where you essentially you put in the work first off, and then that thing keeps on giving. And the two ways to basically get passive income, or well, yeah, to get passive income really, is either invest money and then get a dividend or something like that off that share or something, whatever it be, and then you get that residually and you don't really have to put in any work, or you put in a little bit of time at the front end of it. Maybe you're writing an ebook or whatever it be, I don't know, but you put in a little bit of time at the start, and then you reap the rewards passively for maybe even years to come. So I do that. That's kind of my investing strategy. Invest in things that are passive income. However, I don't like putting my time into new things because I have enough time taken away from me with reselling. And reselling is what I want to do for the majority of my time. I don't want to spend my time doing most other things. I want to spend my time doing reselling because that's the one thing I really, really enjoy. So basically, what you can then do is you can use your money. Well, this is what I do: is I use my money from reselling to generate investments that will then give me passive income as a residual kind of thing, and then obviously you can choose to reinvest that money, or you can invest that money into something else. You can invest that money back into your business. You can buy something with it, whatever you want. But that's kind of my investing strategy. I don't like investments that I'm a bit of an odd investor, I suppose, because I don't like investments that are, where you just put your money into it and you hope that the price goes up, or you put your money into it and you kind of not a hope that the price goes up, but you know what I mean? Like, you put your money into it and you're not getting any residual income back. Like, I like knowing that every day, week, month, whatever it may be, I'm getting this residual income back. I don't want to put my money into, let's say, a share that I'm just then, looking at the financials and then thinking, right, I see the price of this share in a year's time at this price, and therefore I'm somewhat making good judgment decision that it will go up to that price. However, in that period of a year, I've just got my money invested in it without actually getting any residual income back. So I like things that actually give me. It's kind of like I know, because I've listened to a bit of Warren Buffett's kind of talks and stuff, and he always uses the farmland analogy where you put your money into farmland, it'll give you a crop every year. Whereas you put your money into something like, for example, he used it. I remember on a YouTube video, he used the example gold. You're still going to have that block of gold at the end of 100 years or whatever, but the person who bought the farmland will have been able to get that crop every year, year in, year out, as long as the weather's okay, obviously. But you see what I mean? That's kind of my style. I don't like investing to invest just to hope the price is going to go up, or to look at the fundamentals of a project or share, or a company or whatever, and then invest and then watch the price go up and then sell. I'd rather actually keep my base investment and grow my base investment. Like, I would rather have 300,000 in shares, like, even when I die, like, where right at the end of my life, that's giving me passive income every year, year in, year out, in form of dividend, than have 100,000 or 300,000 in shares that I'm just waiting for the price to go up. Because then what I've got to do is sell those shares and then put that money into other shares. I just like the dividend approach, or the passive income approach, not necessarily just with shares, but with other things as well. There's even just on this channel, I could say that Amazon Associates is a form of passive income. Which doesn't actually take any investment match. It just took a little bit of time in terms of putting my packaging links down below. And then when someone buys it, I've not taken any more work or time, but obviously it's a residual income that comes in. So that's what I kind of like. That's what I strive for. And that I've got a couple of things that I'm kind of working on to do that. And what I also like to do, which will completely baffle people maybe, is I like to have a passive income, right? I'll invest in something, and then I'll get that passive income. And then what most people would ordinarily do is straight away they'll put that in the savings, or they'll put that in the bank, and then they'll spend it on something, or something like that. However, what I like to do with that generated passive income is invest it into something else that gives me more passive income. And then I build this pot up, and then I've got two of them going, like, generating passive income. Then I put it into a third one, and then it's like generating that. And then when you've got like this third one really going, you then have a big pot that then you can spend, or you can use in your business, in terms of buying more stock and then flipping that for even more money. You see what I mean? That's how kind of my brain works. So yeah, I've certainly got a few different ideas with that, but it's interesting. So my goals don't center fully around reselling this year, but certainly there is a huge element of reselling goals related to this year as well. Right then, here we go. So Southwest says, I have built up a portfolio of shares Have over 1,000 National Grid shares, pays out over 100 a year in dividends. Each share is worth £8.92 as of now. That's really cool, Southwest Sellers. It's definitely, I don't know about you guys, but I definitely like that approach in terms of investing. It's just because I'm lazy. That's basically what it is. You know, it is a very, very good and efficient way to invest, but I'm just lazy. I want my money to work for me. I don't want to work for my money, and therefore you could say that's lazy, but also you could say that's very intelligent at the same time. I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet. I don't think I'm very intelligent or whatever, but what I'm meaning is you could say that that style of investing is very intelligent. But yeah, it's kind of it's a bit of laziness and it's a bit of maybe a little bit of intelligence thrown in there that I'm trying to think forward. I do think very long term as well. I don't just think, you know, this year, next year. You know, I'm thinking like, you know, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years out. And certainly if you're thinking that long term, because there's no like real stable assets, you know, that might, I mean, yeah, okay, you could say gold, silver, you could say maybe blue chip companies if you're investing in blue chip companies, you know, Coca-Cola, things like that. You could maybe think 50 years out and you'd still be on quite a low risk sort of strategy. But still, thinking long term does have its risks, because if you're thinking long term, then you're gonna put your money into something that you are thinking potentially you might have your money in for a very, very long time. And if you're putting your money into something like that, you've got to make sure that it is something that is going to sustain over that period of time. Otherwise, you've just lost your money. So yeah, it's certainly you've got to be careful when you're investing long term as well. We'll just go up the chat anyway, because I'm sure there'll have been a little bit more chat in there. Oh, Peter Ray's in. Hi there. Do-it-yourself lifestyle. eBay was passive for me in Jan when I took a month off, except the packaging, of course. Yeah, very true. eBay can be like somewhat passive. I mean, as you say, you know, if you take time off, the only thing, yeah, really is packaging. Amazon FBA can feel very much like passive income at the same time as well, because you just send it in, you do the work up front, and then you're getting residual income or residual sales. It's probably not classed as passive income. I would say that Amazon FBA is classed as what's known as active income, but still it feels passive, you know. And that's the allure for me with Amazon FBA, you know, the fact that it feels passive. The problem with FBA, of course, especially increasingly this year, next year, you know, last year, is increasing fees all the time. You know, it's always going up. So then you've got to make sure in line with that you've got a decent amount of profit on those items. But certainly, yeah, eBay can feel like passive income, opposed to, except for the packaging. You know, you could literally like put your shop on not holiday mode, but like extended dispatch for 10 days or something, and you could be getting residual income in, you know, each day. You might still be getting 100 quid in sales, you might be getting more, you might be getting less, but that money's coming in. The only thing you really need to do at the end of those 10 days is obviously pack your orders. So in that way, it's like kind of, when you have time off eBay, it's kind of somewhat a form of passive income and somewhat a form of active. But yeah, certainly, I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. I've been thinking about talking about that for a while. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor. Don't take any investment advice from me. I'm just literally stating a few of the things that the way I go about investing. That's all I'm doing. I'm not saying you should do this. I'm not saying this is a good idea, but I'm just stating that this is what I'm doing, and we'll see what my results are from it. You know, and I'll probably share my results at some point in the future, if you know, if any come to fruition. I don't know. I might lose all my money. I don't know, but you've got to try. You can't have that fear. If you have that fear, whether you're, you know, whether you're in business, whether you're in, you know, an investor or anything, you're not going to push yourself to that limit of where you need to be, or you're not going to push yourself as far as where you need to be. So I think that it's always good to have a level of fear, you know, and always be grounded a little bit and make sure that you're making the right investment decisions. I've made terrible investment decisions. And be grounded, but at the same time, don't have too much fear to stop you from doing something. But I think that in terms of my investment career over maybe the last 2 years or so, when I say investment career, I basically mean just throwing money at things, basically. So you might not even be able to call it an investment career, but yeah, in terms of my actually searching for money or seeking out money in the form of some sort of investment, then I've kind of grown a lot, in terms of my mentality, in terms of my ability to spot good investments from bad investments, because I have made bad investments in the past. So, because I've maybe lost a little bit of money, maybe broken even on others in the past, I've been able to then spot bad investments. Now, of course, you might say, well, why didn't you just go for the good investments in the first place? And the fact is, because I didn't know, I didn't have that experience. I didn't have that experience to spot a good investment from a bad investment. However, going down the path of making that mistake makes you realize that actually, you need to have a little bit more thought, you need to think about it a little bit more, and you need to have that little bit of, I'd say a bit of grounding to be able to think, right, here's a great investment opportunity, but is it really a great investment opportunity? Is it something that is going to actually make you a good return in, a year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever it may be? Or is it a good investment opportunity on the surface, but when you dig into it a little bit more, maybe it's not so good? So yeah, I think I've moved away from, certainly this year, like just I maybe last year, the year before, I was kind of putting money into things. This year I'm kind of thinking, right, I'll put my money into things, but I'm going to show a little bit more caution and a little bit more intelligence in what I'm putting my money into, and in the way I'm investing in terms of my overall strategy as well. Hence, the dividend investing or the passive income investing, whatever you want to call it, it's very, very similar anyway, both the terms. Right then, so Wi-Fi has driven me mad since starting online selling. Yeah, I tell you what, my kind of Wi-Fi has been like that, very much so. That's Jasmine actually saying that. Yeah, my Wi-Fi. I was downstairs last night actually trying to list some items, and I tell you, my Wi-Fi wasn't having it. It has drove me a little bit mad since I've been reselling, especially because I feel like you depend on it more as a reseller. I mean, anyone really does. Anyone working from home that has somewhat of an online job, I think, depends on it quite a lot. I mean, even in offices, obviously, they depend on it. So if it goes down there, they've kind of had it a little bit. Oh, uh-oh. Right, sorry, we probably froze there or jumped for a second. I apologise about that. Tell you, my Wi-Fi is terrible. So yeah, I suppose that I do depend on it quite a lot, and it does drive me up the wall when it doesn't work, because you kind of you expect it to work, you want it to work, you want it to be fast, and then sometimes it lets you down. And it's usually, I'll tell you when it usually is. It's either when you're labeling up your parcels and then it's going really, really slow, or even the Royal Mail website goes down, click and drop, or Hermes website goes down. And it's always at the moment when you just come to label up your parcels that the website goes down, or either your Wi-Fi is going slow or something. And that's always when it happens. Always like either when you're just getting ready to label up your parcels, or when you're listing. Every time, and it does really annoy me. As I say, happened last night. It's going a bit slow. I think what I need to do is, I don't know. I think we're on BT at the moment, but I think what I need to do is talk to my dad and see if either me or him can ring up BT and maybe just tell them what's going on, because it seems to be going a bit. It just seems to be a bit slow. The last 2 or 3 weeks, it's been very odd, this internet, and obviously it's not right, is it? It shouldn't be doing that. So yeah, I think even if we could ring up, maybe we could even just put a little bit of pressure on, saying that we might change providers or something like that, and then maybe that might help a little bit. Maybe they'll actually speed up the Wi-Fi here or something like that, because it isn't. When you pay for Wi-Fi, you expect to get a good service, and if that's not what you're getting particularly, then you've got to kind of take the steps to actually get what you want to achieve. And in this case, you've got to ring up and sort something out. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'll have a word with my dad and say that the Wi-Fi isn't particularly great, and maybe one of us can ring up or something. I don't know, and see if we can't actually get something happening. James says, question, which items would you not buy to sell on eBay again? Actually, I will direct you to a video as well as answer your question now. But I actually did a video. I think it was it 3 items or five? No, it was 3 items I hate selling on eBay. I did that. It wasn't too long ago, maybe about a month ago. So it'll be on my channel, fairly recently. And I think in that video I mentioned clothing. I do not like selling clothing on eBay. Um, I'm not so bad with jeans and stuff like that. I'm okay with that, but women's clothing and stuff like that, it's just not for me. Nothing wrong with selling it. Nothing wrong with selling it at all. If it's what you love to sell, for example, like for me, I love selling Lego minifigures. So I know that Doing It Yourself Lifestyle is in the chat. He does clothing. So, but when he gets some clothing in, he gets the same excitement as when I get some Lego minifigures in. So I completely understand and sort of what's the word? Well, not empathize. That wouldn't be the word, but I kind of understand on the base level that we all like selling different things, and if that's what you like to sell, then that's fair. But for me, fair enough. But for me, I'm not great at clothing. I don't like selling clothing particularly. And train sets, I do not like selling train sets. Don't know what it is. I don't think I particularly liked train sets as a child. I never really had any or anything like that. I think I had that Tommy Big Loader when I was a child, but I don't think I had any others. And I just don't like setting them up. I don't like testing them, things like that for electric ones. There's a lot of pieces to them. They are usually quite big, so you have to take photos maybe off your photo area. And yeah, I just don't like Simon for train sets or scale electric sets. And the other one I said, what was the other one I said? Oh, I forgot what the other one I said was, but anyway, it'll be in that video, so you'll be able to go to that video and actually see that last one. I'll try and think for you now. I can't remember completely, but no, it's gone. I can't remember. Got Virgin and it's pretty good but expensive. Yeah, I don't know who we're. I think we're on BT. I'm pretty sure we're on BT. I think I have 24 hours before Google will let me change it back to SibK. Oh, why did you it to Sibabus K for a joke or something then? No problem, James. I'm here to answer everyone's questions, so that's what I shall do, and I shall answer them in the best possible way. I'm not saying my advice is completely sound or anything like that. Oh, it looks like we jumped again. Sorry, guys, if it's froze. Oh, no, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe it's just YouTube playing up. It looked like it froze then. But yeah, I try and answer questions the best I can. But as I say, sometimes my advice isn't the best. Sometimes I get things wrong and stuff like that. So always take it with a pinch of salt. And obviously look at other videos as well on YouTube and see what other people have to say. And I've said that so many times. And then get a general gist of what everyone's saying and then form your own opinion and do what you want to do ultimately. But yeah, we're here to at least provide, all the reselling YouTubers are here to provide a little bit of inspiration for you and give you a few answers to a few questions, and then ultimately you can go forward in your own business decisions. So I don't think we've got any questions. Peter says my Wi-Fi works pretty good downstairs, but upstairs it's rubbish. Well, that's the problem. I am upstairs at the moment, so yeah, it might be that. It might be the fact that it's a bit rubbish upstairs. I don't know whether it's that Wi-Fi extender. I keep looking at it. I keep looking over at that corner because that's where it is. But I actually moved that Wi-Fi extender to down there opposed to when it was out there. And when it was out there, I believe that last week on Thursday Talks, it was actually out there. And ever since it's been in here, it's telling me that it's actually working better in terms of with the lighting system it's got on it. It's telling me it's working better in here. But unfortunately, obviously, with streaming, it's not working better out in here. So, don't know. I might change it back to out there and see next week if that has any difference. In terms of my OBS settings, there's not a lot I can do. My OBS settings are fine, and on OBS they are telling me it's fine. So it's got to be my internet, my Wi-Fi extender, something like that. So I do apologise for the lag, and I apologise for the lag in the last video I did yesterday, or the cutting off, or whatever's happening. I know I think there's some cutting off and stuff, especially yesterday. So yeah, I apologise about that. I will try and fix it in some manner, but as I say, I don't even really know what to do other than, as I say, wing up BT or something and see if it is the Wi-Fi that's the menace really in this situation. Southwest says go fibre optic. I swear we are fibre optic. I'm sure my dad switched over not long ago, but if we are, then it should be performing better than this. So I don't know. Wing BT, good luck with that. Best to take the day off and make a packed lunch for the wait on the phone. Oh bloody hell, great. Well, could I not? Well, no. Even if I email them, yeah, if I email them, they might take ages to respond and stuff, and they might just give me a generated response on email. So oh, great. I don't know them. Anyway, I don't know. On fiber optic down to 112 megabits per second. I don't know. Up 611. All three services at £50 per month. Right. Where are we? Oh, let me just check OBS. It looks like, oh no, we're okay. Watershed. What is going on? Right. George Ross, like I said, Ad said in a previous video that he does promoted listings. Why did George say? One sec, let me go up. George Ross, question: do you entertain eBay's promoted listings ads? I do, and I really shouldn't. I think that we should all. I think this is what we should do. You might call me a complete idiot. You might say, why? What's the point in doing that? But I think what we should all do as sellers, if we all like got together, a big massive group of resellers, not necessarily in the flesh. I mean, if we got together in terms of like not a phone tree, but we all like told each other, look, none of us do promoted listings. Every reseller we know, and we have the power to do that with YouTube. You know, we get some of the big YouTubers saying to people, don't do promoted listings. Everyone doesn't do it, and then we all wait it out, right? Like some sort of like being in the trenches or whatever. Well, it wouldn't be quite like that, but you know, like we all wait it out, and then maybe we go for a patch of slow sales. But if all these resellers, like a vast majority of resellers, don't do it, then eBay are going to try and push it on us more and more and more. But then they're going to get to breaking point where they're going to think, actually, none of these resellers are doing this. None of these resellers are taking up this promoted listings. We may as well just let all these sales return back to normal. Because I really do think that eBay are doing some weird tricks that are making our sales go slow. And then they're putting that little, use our promoted listings up above our little, on our seller hubs. And they're like, oh yeah, well we better do that. But if we all like stand firm and we're all together, shoulder to shoulder, you know, for the people, then and we don't use it, then we're gonna stick it to them. But at the same time, there's no point in doing that because everyone just seems to be giving into it anyway, and then we're all just gonna give into it, and we're all just gonna be like in a black and white movie with like pitchforks over our backs and you know wags on, and then we're all just gonna be like walking along. That's how I really do, and it's like so annoying. But no, I did give in, George. I did give in. My sales were very, very slow, and I did end up doing it on about, I think it was like 5 or 6% ad fee, and it improved my sales. Oh, magically, obviously, improved my sales because I knew it would do because you are paying eBay for the privilege. What you know, once something sells, it improved my sales by 40 to 45% in a week. And then ever since then, I've toned it down a little bit. I think I've got it on about 4% now, and my sales are steady. I wouldn't say they're mega, but yeah, it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I said it on my video the other day in 10 ways to increase your eBay sales or something. It just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I don't like it. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people who might give me a bit of flack for that, but I just don't like it. I'm sure there's a lot of people who will agree with me as well, but I will speak my mind on that, and I just don't like it. You know, I just, it just gets to me a little bit. Promoting listings, Sibk says promoted listings is definitely for resellers. For retailers, not resellers. Promoted listings is definitely for retailers. I will double say that. With lots of new stock who want to be more competitive. I don't believe it's made for resellers of random tap. Yeah, that's a good thought actually. Yeah. although saying that, they're still giving, like, yeah, it would be great for retail and stuff, but I still don't like the principle of just, eBay somehow grabbing a few more fees by doing it in this weird tactic. I'd rather them come out and say, look, us as a company, we can't find a way to grow our profits any further. So look, we need to do some. I mean, I wish there was like some sort of like meeting where resellers could go and all these different eBay sellers could go, and then they hash it out with the eBay board members or whatever it is, and they say, look, we need a way to grow our profits. eBay are very honest and open on the table, but look, we either need to increase your fees, or if you guys have any other ideas of ways we can grow in terms of without increasing your fees, then we'll entertain them and we'll go down that route for a short period before maybe having to increase your fees in a couple of years' time. But then at least we could stave off that kind of increase in fee for a couple of years if we were all to group together like that. But this is what I think it's about, companies not communicating effectively with their in some respect we're eBay's customers, in another respect we're their suppliers, because we supply the goods to sell on their marketplace. But if you've not, the fundamental thing of business that I got taught is you need to have a solid relationship with your suppliers and your customers. That's the two things. And essentially, we are both eBay's customers and suppliers in one respect. So I think that eBay need to have a better relationship with us. And, even if they're going to increase fees, or they need to increase fees to, get more profit and grow their business, that's fair enough. But at least give us a platform to say our piece, or to maybe make suggestions on how they could grow their business without necessarily completely destroying us with fees. Because if they destroy us with fees too much, then they're not going to have a supplier, they're not going to have a customer, they're not going to have a website. So anyway, I could go on and on and on about this, couldn't I? But yeah, I do love business ethics and stuff. When I was doing that in college and university and stuff, I really liked that. I really liked business ethics, and also things like tearing down, or maybe what's the thing? What was the example we had? Where basically you would be destroying a natural habitat of an animal to build to build like a big warehouse or something that you could do somewhere else in the world. And it was very interesting, having debates on business ethics, because it is a very, very interesting subject. I mean, I suppose this isn't quite business ethics, but in a way it ties in with it a little bit. But yeah, Jasmine says, do you do Instagram to share your items with collectors? I share pics with jewelry lovers, targeted advertisings. George says, Spanner. Oh, sorry, George. Yeah, I'll spanner you. Sorry, I was too busy rambling. Add moderator. Right, okay. Where are we? Where's the guy? I want to see the guy. Where's the bloody guy who was... Oh, where's the guy who was being... Oh, I didn't even see the guy who was... Hello, ads. First time out chat. I don't know. I can't even see the guy who is like kicking off. I'm assuming someone's... Peter, have you not got a spanner? I thought I made you a spanner ages ago. Oh, right. I need to make Peter a spanner. Right, Peter, there you go. You can have a spanner. Sorry, I thought you... Yeah, cool. I thought you already were a moderator, Peter. Yeah, anyway. I can't believe that. Yeah, so anyway, I've got a couple of mods in there. I didn't even see the guy or the girl who was like kicking off. But anyway, yeah, so what was I saying? What was it? I'm thrown off now. Anyway, we'll go up the chat and maybe do a little yeah, let's just sort of have a chat maybe, see what other people are saying about this. Sibk says, it's a vicious circle. If we all stop doing promoted listings, some will, and it will show that it works. We'll all start doing it, and then we're all in the same boat again. Yeah, it's very true. That's the problem. It's in an ideal world, we'd all just not do it and all stand firm, but it's like, all these different revolutions in history, or all these different wars, there's always people who break ranks. There's always people who end up, breaking away from the crowd and stuff, and then that makes it totally irrelevant to do. But no, yeah, in an ideal world, we'd all stand firm against the sort of against the big dog, and that'd be that. But anyway, um, right then, I never buy promoted listings or sponsored ones on any site, as never as good as the best match for my actual search. Anyway, very true. I would say that's quite true actually, because when you have the best match search, I mean, I suppose the people on best match don't need to do promoted listings because they're on best match. They might be the top guy on best match. So therefore, they're getting quite a lot of sales, and therefore they wouldn't necessarily do it. However, other people who are maybe further down the search would, and therefore those listings come up at the top. And it may, maybe customers won't buy them because, as you've stated, the fact that they aren't as good as maybe just a person on best match. So that is that's interesting actually to think about. Right then, right then. Everyone is behaving, guys, apart from you apparently. I'm getting a bit ranty today. Anyway, I'll go in a minute because we're coming up to an hour. Okay. It looks like there was someone in the chat that was ranting off, but yeah, anyway, I can't see what the message was, but it looks like someone was ranting and raving. No, so sorry, Jasmine. I don't know whether I answered your question. No, I don't use Instagram for my kind of like reselling items. So I don't have an Instagram account for just like putting a really nice picture of an item on and saying, this is what it is and this is how much it is, and then they could maybe private message me and we could do it through PayPal goods and services. I don't do that. I know there's a lot of people who are probably making fantastic, fantastic money doing that. I'm sure there's some of these like these beauty girls on Instagram, or maybe like travelers or whatever, who end up selling tons and tons of products. Maybe it's makeup or whatever, I don't know. But I'm sure there are a lot of people making a lot of money doing that on there as well. And I think that Instagram would be very, very good for vintage items, especially some of the stuff that maybe I can get, I can attain from the auction. So certainly it would be up my alley, and maybe I might think about that in future. However, I would probably do it on a different account than my Instagram that is specific to actually just sharing with the reselling community and sharing sales and stuff like that, because on there basically I've got that, that's like it just feels like a different community, with reselling community, and then there's actually selling to the public kind of community. So, and I don't particularly want to say on, if I had it all on the same account, oh, look what I picked up for £4 one day, and then the next day I'm posting it for sale saying, oh, and I'm charging £79 or whatever for this item. So you've also got that as well. And people probably wouldn't take too kindly to that if they actually saw what was going on and stuff. But because a lot of people, other than resellers, don't necessarily understand margins, don't necessarily understand the business we're in, don't necessarily understand, what we're about essentially. So it can sometimes look a little bit like, whoa, you're charging extortionate price if you got that item for £4 or £5. But essentially, all I'm doing is getting the most I can out of that item, because if that's its market value, then I've got to get as much out of that item as I can, regardless of what I paid for it. So, yeah. But that's what I say, I'd probably have it on two separate accounts rather than just, all on one. So it is something I might think about actually. And it is another avenue, like I was talking about before, maybe expanding into a few different areas, 2 or 3 different areas is a good idea, with this lack of consistency on eBay at the moment. And the fact that we're having to use promoted listings or use more of these techniques that I talked about in the 10 ways to increase your eBay sales video the other day, to actually generate some sort of consistency with sales on eBay. So yeah. Anyway, I'll leave it there, guys. Thank you very much for joining me. I apologize if it was a little bit, off and on the stream. I don't quite know how it was. Hopefully it'll be all right. But it seemed to be I think there probably was a little bit of lag and stuff. But I apologize about that. Hopefully I can sort something out for next week or the next time I do a stream. I think how are the sales going on Tinder? No, I'm not on Tinder anymore. I tried it out. I tried it out about a year ago or something, and then or 2 years ago. and then I stopped doing it, and then I tried it out a few weeks ago because my friend got me back onto it, and I can't be bothered with it. I really can't. I won't tell you how my first experience with Tinder went. But yeah, it wasn't a nice experience the first time. I mean, it wasn't anything horrific, but I was hoping to get a very attractive girl, let's say, on there, and I didn't actually get the kind of gender I wanted. Let's just say that. But anyway, I won't say any more than that because it was pretty exotic what came up, what I got matched with. But yeah, anyway, I think I'll leave it there. Um, who said that about a Tinder? Subcase says that was Gary, wasn't it? Southwest Solars. So yeah, I'll leave it there, guys. I won't ramble any longer. Thank you everyone for joining me in the chat, and yeah, I will see you again very soon. So yeah, I'll catch you again in my next video, probably like Saturday, Sunday time, something like that. So yeah, I'll see you very soon. Do 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 do.